So we're back, and I was able to fix the performance issues that we were having at the end of the last episode. For those of you who didn't catch that, our ticks per second basically ground down to single digits, regardless of what the gameplay speed was set at. And interestingly enough, the reason for that wasn't any like major mod conflicts or anything of that nature. It was actually the floors in this little room here bugged out, and so the game could not tell if the resources had been placed in those work tiles or not. And so they showed up as if the materials were there, but the game said that they weren't there. And so the pawns, their AI basically broke because they didn't know what to do about the floors that they were trying to assemble. And the reason the ticks per second plummeted was because we had like 4 pawns basically trying to build those floors, and they just like freaked out and didn't know how to process what was happening. So I had to revert back to my save from the previous episode. I save after each episode and often in between as well. But I had to revert back to the previous episode and basically play through everything you guys saw in the last episode again. So things are going to be slightly different, just because it's kind of impossible for me to replicate things exactly, but more or less the outcome is the same. Speaking of outcomes, our buddy Boricus still had a mental break in the same fashion that he did in what you guys saw. And so I decided that he was going to be our next organ donor. So the best way he could contribute to the cause, given the fact that he was just a constant problem, was through basically donating parts for additional gene seed implants. Therefore, he is no longer part of our colony, as you can see, but we do have another secondary heart now, which means we can start the implantation process for our next marine candidate, which is going to be Demetrios. I haven't touched Phocis between episodes. He is at the same place we left him, as far as you guys saw, so I did catch back up to the catalepsian node, but we haven't proceeded beyond that. So we'll try to get the next couple of phases implanted today, and we'll also start on Demetrios's implants, maybe 1 through 3 for him. Additionally, while we're on the topic of surgeries and whatnot, Crocodile has had their limbic lobe removed once again, and we built a drill arm which was attached to his right arm. And so yeah, what we need to do now is figure out how to fix their moving and manipulation. So obviously those have taken a pretty considerable hit. Talking is at 0, which is fine. These are servitors, they're not needed to talk. The pain we can actually fix as well, but that's not really a concern because if we look at needs, the mood is just 100 all the time, right? There's never going to be a problem. But we do want to fix the movement stuff. And so that's kind of where I've been stuck at, because if I look at operations, we should be able to install muscle stimulators. But if I go into this tab and search, the only thing containing the word muscle in here is body mod stimulate muscle growth. And that's for changing the appearance of the pawn if you want to do it without going into character editor and just changing their body type, right? If you want to do it sort of within the scope of the game, you can do this plastic surgery to basically make them big and buff and have the Hulk body type. So that's completely irrelevant to what we're doing here. If we go into the prosthetics tab, there's also not any muscle stimulators. So if I start typing that, there's literally nothing. And we've kind of scrolled through here a few times. There isn't anything that I've found related to the muscle stimulators. Of course, we could make bionic limbs and that might get us the same effect, but it's also going to be a lot more costly. And then the same is true for the tissue printer. So if I go in here, there's also not any muscle stimulators. There's a brain stimulator, but that is about it. I don't believe the brain stimulator is going to help us in this regard. If the consciousness level of Crocodile was lower, and that was the reason for the loss in efficiency, then potentially it would. But we see the consciousness is actually still 100%. So I don't think it will improve these at all. What's interesting is despite the fact that I can't find the muscle stimulators everywhere, I know that they still exist in the game. If we go to character editor and we go over to the health tab and I click on this little plus sign here, if I start typing in muscle, the stimulators are here and they're from EPOE, which is the same thing we saw the brain stimulator from. So the question is, how the hell do we make these? Because they are part of the game. They just don't appear at any bench or in our operations tab. And I forget how I was using them in my playtests, if I'm being honest. I thought they were just a, I want to say, like an operation. You didn't need to necessarily make anything. It was just an operation that cost, I think, maybe some components to basically stimulate or implant stimulators into the muscles. So I'm going to continue to try to play with that because the whole basis for the servitor thing was kind of centered around being able to do that, and now I can't. Anywho, the base is expanded a bit, as you can see here. So we've finished our temple. I like the stairs kind of leading up to it, and then of course we have benches for people to sit. And up here is where we'll have our shrine to the Emperor. Over here is the sort of chaplain's area. So we have 2 bedrooms. Nicholas in the northern one, and then at least temporarily Endymion in the southern one. When we get a second chaplain, that's where they will stay, and Endymion is going to be living elsewhere. And then this room here is going to be set up with some furniture so that people can come and talk to the chaplains if they ever have a crisis of faith or anything of that nature. Over here is going to be the reliquary, and I appear to have screwed this up a little bit, so I'm going to need to fix that. But it should be symmetrical. We'll have these 4 columns in here, and then a lot of shelves for unique items that we come across. And then I think this is going to be our librarium. So it's going to be relatively large because we're going to have bookshelves, and then also some writing tables, I think. This room, I initially put it there as maybe a bioreactor room. The bioreactors, excuse me, for those of you who don't know, are, let's see, these little containers here. So you place it down, you load a pawn, well, it doesn't necessarily need to be a pawn, but it does need to be a living thing, into them. And it works as sort of like a stasis tank, but also the life force of the thing being stored in there will generate electricity. So it kind of functions twofold. We can catalog a lot of the Xenos enemies that we come across for our librarians to study, maybe our tech priests as well. But we can also generate some electricity from them, so it's kind of cool in that way. Now, I'm thinking that this room probably isn't big enough to house all of the different Xenos that we might need to do, because even like the Tau, for example, who are raiding us, there's the regular Tau, there's the like the Fire Warriors, the Fire Cast. There's also the Ethereals. There are the different varieties of Kroot, and I'm sure I'm missing plenty of them. So even from them alone, we're probably talking like 6 to 8 bioreactors, and then there's the orcs who probably need another 6 to 8 bioreactors. And of course, most of them will fit in the 1x1s, these ones here. But there are going to be things like orc knobs that are going to need the larger 3x3. And potentially there's going to be enough of those where it's not all going to fit in there. So I don't know if that's what I want to do with that space. But we can kind of figure it out as we go. I might just turn this whole large area here into like a sitting and reading area full of bookshelves, and maybe the writing room can be in here, and then we'll have a completely separate space for the bioreactors. But these bedrooms here are going to be where the librarians stay. And then we have our little defensive pillbox things set up along here. I fixed the spacing over here. I don't recall if it was like this in the last episode. I suspect probably not. So I fixed the spacing over here. Again, eventually this will be embrasured so that we can fire out. And of course, we'll have to mine the mountain out to accommodate that. And then there's another sort of pillbox sticking out so that we can fire along the lengths of the walls and also just have a better firing arc here. I realized that I kind of screwed up the spacing of this hallway, so I need to move things over on this side. This hallway is 4 wide. This one was 5 wide, so I need to just scoot everything one. Luckily, it's really just this spot here. And then obviously we've mapped that out on the other side. And the pillboxes will probably be the extent of that, because obviously we're going to have to mine pretty deep into the mountain if we want to expose any more of it. So I don't think we're going to bother. We'll just go out to here, and then this can be regular hallway to whatever else we need. I'm thinking this will be a combination, probably a mess hall hereabouts, and then a freezer, a larger freezer than what we have here on this side. And then on the other side of the hall can be where we have our growing zones generating food, and then it's just a matter of walking across the hall to the freezer. I think that'll be potentially the most efficient setup. On that note, we're actually expanding our growing zones currently, so I'm going to get away from these hydroponics basins, and I've just asked them to lay down some standard soil in this room. We'll till it, which is what's happening here right now. We're tilling the soil just to get a little bit more efficiency out of it, because this isn't rich soil. And we'll start growing in there with 2 sun lamps, and that will obviously expand what we can grow, because we're not limited to, what, 20 tiles worth anymore. But also I think it'll be more efficient. Maybe not power wise, because we were only running 1 sun lamp here versus 2, but at least we're maximizing the radius of growing around the sun lamp. But also I believe these yeah, the basins themselves require power, and obviously a dirt patch does not. So while yes, the lamps are going to require additional power, we're at least not spending it on the stuff that's just sitting here. And if we lose power, they're not going to die immediately on the soil. So yeah. Anywho, we did take on the same quest that we did last episode, and I've tried to basically keep us on the same path there. I sent the same people to do the same things. And so currently we're dealing with a raid from the Tau, from the Attack for Profit quest. So when our away team returned, I accepted this one. It's been 5 days, and now the Tau are attacking. We're dealing with 2 Narlocks, 9 Kroot Warriors, 3 also Kroot Warriors, and 9 Kroot Hounds. I don't know what the difference is here. But anywho, that's who is attacking us right now. So let's go ahead and deal with that before we do anything else. It looks as though they're going to land on this third of the map. So either here, or if we're really lucky, maybe they'll land in there and we can choke point them in this spot. Either way, we should start moving our people out. So let's just get everybody, you know what? Actually, hold on, Endymion. Health. Crack, bruise, crack. Ooh, permanent crack. Yikes. We'll need to repair that surgically. I think a bit of plasteel will fix it. But it looks like mostly just bruises. His movement is 158%, and these are all in the 90s. So I think he is in a place where he can start joining us in combat. And then the rest of you Marines can get out here as well. Phocis, not quite yet. Not quite yet. But hopefully the sooner the better. We should have enough plasteel to... Whoop, not the right one. Should have enough plasteel to make him some armor. Some scout armor soon enough. And actually, we have enough to make maybe 2 sets. We'll just preemptively make one for Demetrios. Alright, so as our boys trickle in here, I'm going to start assigning them to places. Let's put Thule here. Ariston, I think I'm going to have you cover the turret just so nothing rushes it. Cyrus, let's actually bring you down here because you're going to be harassing the enemy before we actually kick this off. Tarkus, hang out on that corner. Let's see. Nicholas, you take that one. Endymion, take this one in case they come through the middle. Martellus over there. Gordian, you can hang out over here. And Avitus, I want you on that corner. So I think that's everybody, right? Alright, Cyrus. Let's go give him hell. I think that might be a better spot. Might need to get a little bit closer. Doesn't really need to be... Oh. I was going to say, he doesn't really need to be in cover, but he probably should be if they're going to rush him like that. He did just leg somebody. Oh, that was a liver shot. Conquest. What's going on here? The Imperial Guard just lost a settlement to the Eldar. That's bad news for the Imperium. Oh, just blew somebody's toe off. Can you get another shot in there? Nope, they're out of range. Okay, move up to here. Let's try to do this without any damage to Cyrus whatsoever. You might need to pull back again. Oh, legged him. Cool, that guy's not going anywhere. At least not very quickly. And you're basically dead. He just destroyed his pelvis. That guy lost a leg. And there goes the other leg. Nice. Only a matter of time for that one. Oh, and his time just came. Okay, you're taking fire. Oh, come on, Cyrus. We were doing so well. There's just that little bit of delay between shots where I can't move him. And that tends to be when they clip him. Okay. As long as it's not somebody who's currently manning our defenses. Okay, they're beginning their assault, so let's... Well, you know what? Let's continue to harass them a little bit. He just shot the eye out of one of those Crute Hounds. He can fire on the run, so we'll keep him moving, but we should also make sure that he outpaces... Cyrus, bro, come on. I was gonna say we should make sure he outpaces the Crute Hounds, but he almost got himself caught there. He just brained that one. Okay, turret's starting to engage, as are our defenders on the left flank here. Somebody just got vaporized by the turret on that side. Can I get you to maybe shoot the big guy? And they're fleeing. So let's start attacking. I'll just order everybody to basically run forward and let run and gun do the rest. Let's see if we actually catch any of them. It's possible that we basically run by some of them. Yeah, let's do that. Ariston, get over here. Okay, so they are returning fire over here. We'll want to be careful of that. Granted, you know, our guys are in power armor. Probably be fine, but I think we got them all. Except for this one here. And that's been remedied. So that is the entire raid. And there are the pods containing our reward. Beautiful. So I'll just leave those there. We'll let our manufacturers disassemble those for the parts. I think the best we can hope for is a little bit of steel and componentry, but that's still valuable. And of course the jade we can turn into some sort of decoration for the base. I suppose all of you can just return to whatever you were doing. I'm going to manually go through and unforbid some of the stuff on the ground. I'm willing to bet it's not going to let me select very many at a time, but we can try. Okay, so with the raid dealt with, there are a couple things I want to begin working on. It looks like Cyrus is going to go rest. He just got a light plasma burn on his left leg. Could not be more minor. So we'll get that tended to. It looks like... No, Demetrios is cleaning trash up. He's not actually going to tend to him. So anywho, I'd like to start working on installing the next set of gene seed implants. So before recording this, I looked at what is usually done for the next set, and it looks like they're usually installed in a set of 3, so 7, 8, 9 all together. So let's queue those up. That'll be the Preomnor, the Omophagia, and the... Did I scroll past it? Where is it? And the Multi-Lung. Okay. So we'll get those 3 going. Demetrius will be next. I need to remember to remove the death acidifiers from these guys too. I do have the ability to do that. I had to do it for Borkus, obviously, otherwise it would have destroyed all of his organs. So where is that? This is via a mod, by the way. You can't do this in vanilla. So yeah, here it is. I don't know why it's there twice. I'm pretty sure he only has 1. Oh, you don't have a foot? How did we not catch that? That's fine. We'll give him a bionic one. But yeah, so we'll need to remove those from this particular set of recruits because they all had them for some reason. And I guess in the meantime, let's look at sending some people out on the next mission. We have the bandit camp, which is going to expire in about 8 days. The reward is really nothing to speak of for that one. We'll get like, I think it was like a little statue or something. And I forget what else. It's honestly, we weren't doing it for the reward. We were doing it because we're Space Marines and we kill Tau. That's what we do. This one, however, looks like we have 6 days to do this. And the reward for this is notable. Namely, 70 plasteel, which is basically a set of scout carapace armor and potentially a weapon. Ranged weapon, probably. I think the melee ones cost more plasteel than that. And then 75 ceramite, which is like a whole ceramite chainsword. I think that's the chainsword that Gordian has, and it's actually quite powerful. So we definitely want to do that. And given that it looks to be running out sooner than the other one, we should probably send somebody now. We have no idea what the defenders are going to be. It just says there's a cluster of hostile mechanoid structures and an unknown threat. So I'm thinking maybe 2 or 3. Could be like Nicholas and probably more firepower than Cyrus can provide. Maybe Avitus? Basically set him up in some cover and then let Nicholas pull aggro while he just shoots everybody. I think that could work. Do we want to send anybody else? Honestly, the 2 of them might be enough. It's hard to say because we don't know who's actually there defending it. The other one, we know that there's 7 Tau guarding it, which we just killed 23 with pretty little effort, so that's not a lot. I don't suspect this will be very many enemies either, but hard to say for certain. Okay. Well, let's go with our initial plan here. We'll send those 2. We'll send them with, let's see, that's 30 days worth of food. What, 1 package survival meal and 1 berry? Let's not bother with those. I'm going to send them with, how much does all the berries get us? 27 days, but they'll rot in about 8. That's fine. It's only going to take them 1.7 to get there and presumably 1.7 to get back. Maybe a little longer if they have to carry some stuff. But all in all, that's still only about a 4-day round trip. And if we hang out there for a day or 2, that still leaves us under a week. So I think that'll be just fine. We'll give them like 3 medicine, and I think that's all we need. So let's stagger these a little bit. I don't want to send like all of our Marines out on missions and leave the base completely unoccupied. So maybe by the time they get here, do their business and are ready to leave, we'll send the next group out here, stagger it a little bit so that by the time these guys arrive there, these guys will have returned and the base will have only been short-handed for maybe a day or so. Okay. I'm going to clear this annual expo thing. We're not going to attend that. But I think I would like to clear this ancient danger just so I don't have to deal with the flashing notification anymore. So, Thule, looks like you're unoccupied. Why don't you come on over here? And I do need some firepower. You know what? Thule and Endymion. Let's just have those two do it. They both have bolt pistols and, well, a power sword and a chain sword, so they can handle anything that rushes us, but they can also shoot with... I mean, this is not a very big room. I don't think we need long-range weapons. Arston does have a shotgun, though. Yeah, Arston, why don't you get over here just in case? I mean, Thule's going to be doing most of the work here because he's got the shield. So I'm basically going to plug the gap with him. Come over here, actually. And then Arston, let's put you on that spot. Endymion, where are you? Come on. Oh, you're still not healed. I really hope they didn't use Glitterworld medicine for this. I'm guessing they didn't if the 10 quality isn't perfect, but that would be really unfortunate. Alright, Thule. I'm just going to have you basically break down the wall here. We could deconstruct it, but I think this is faster. Oh, hello. That's a demon. A demon brute. And a scyther. What are these guys doing together? Anywho, are you something we don't want to fight? So race is Walker Demon. They do live quite long. What sort of like, okay, here we go. Their damage resistance honestly isn't that great. Melee DPS is pretty poor. Armor pen, I don't honestly know if that's a good value or not. Health. Can't really gather much from this. Oh wait. These are like robot things. You're not a robot. But anyways, I can't gather how much health they have from that. So Thule, step into the doorway. Endymion, move up to there, and Ariston, move up to here. Okay, the Scyther made it into combat. Thule just parried his weak attempt at an attack, though. And, yeah, it's actually hanging in there pretty admirably. But we were able to kill them both without any damage to ourselves. So that's great. Right. We have a charged rifle of excellent quality. We'll probably just turn that into components. We might be able to get an advanced component out of it, actually. It is equipped with some artwork, though. Let's take a look. So the title is Red Grasshopper. An engraving on this weapon depicts a devil covered in viscera surrounded by cobras. The sinuous style of the central scene clashes with the cel-shaded depiction of the background. There is a desert in the lower part of the image. So we just cracked open a little bit of a demonic room here. We have an actual demon and then some weapons that reference demons. That's concerning. We'll want to grab this advanced component, and then there's 10 Luciferium here. I don't know what I want to do about that. I am a little bit tempted to destroy it. It's nice to have it around for when you're like truly desperate, but at the same time, if anybody has a mental break and like decides to binge it, that's potentially, you know, the end of them, because I don't really have any interest in trying to seek out a sustainable supply. So the safest bet might just be to destroy it. And honestly, if we find ourselves in a situation where that's the only way to save somebody, they probably weren't meant to survive. So, are you actually dead? Okay, you are dead. We don't need to finish you off. This one is also dead. Can we, like, destroy it with your bolt pistol? Let's try this. I don't know if this will work. I don't think it will. I think if we had... Oh, good. The caravan left. I think if we had, like, a flamethrower or something, we could set fire to it, but the bolt pistol explosions are not going to ignite it or damage it. So I think we're done in here for now. There are presumably people in these, but I'm not going to deal with that at the moment. I want to have some like some cattle prod wielding people ready to deal with that, so that we can potentially take the occupants alive, if at all possible. These steel sarcophagi might have things in them too. Let's see. Apparently not. Well, let's deconstruct that then. It's free steel. How about you? Nope. Okay, well, 2 free steel. This might be a room, actually. There's no door, but I don't know why I bothered. There's no door, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there's nothing in there. It appears to be hollow. I can see like the wall edges through the fog of war. You two can go about your business. I think Thul's a match for anything that would be waiting in here. And there's nothing. Okay. But there is an empty space, so at least we were able to investigate that. So those are both done. Thul, feel free to go about your business. These two will need to be deconstructed. This is a robot, so we'll actually get metal from this. Metal and componentry. Or maybe not. It has like regular... Yeah, I'm confused now because its health on this tab, or whatever that tab was before, those were robot categories, but it has heart, lung, gene seed body parts, which again, I can't hide those, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm not sure what to make of that. As long as we don't eat it, I think it'll be okay. I wish I had a flamethrower. I would just burn it. So I'd like to revisit our situation with the prisoners currently, just to kind of update you guys on where we are, and also remind myself what the hell our strategy is moving forward. So conveniently, most of them are in bed, so we can just kind of skip across. Hippopotamus is going to be... Right, she's our mad surgeon, so we're going to turn her into like a tech priest Magos. She's obviously very capable in combat, but she's a decent crafter as well. And with the mad surgeon trait and her passion for medicine, we can maybe turn her into like some sort of Magos, Biologos type of character, where she basically will just maybe hang out in the apothecarium and help craft bionics and things of that nature, and then maybe install them. And obviously we'll make sure that she's pretty well equipped for combat too, because she could definitely contribute. Crocodile is going to be our mining servitor, so he's basically just going to be specialized for that. Lax is, I believe, another tech priest recruit, so undergrounder with mining. Honestly, potentially another servitor here, but she does have some combat skill and potential for other things, so that's a tough one. Either a servitor or a tech priest, obviously. Peslowski, you. Oh, your first name is Marcos? Let's just call you Marcos. So he's the prototypical Space Marine candidate. Well, his traits aren't ideal, but his skills are. So a lot of passion and skill in combat, and then a little bit in social as well. So squad leader material. He's nearsighted and a wimp. Wimp is going to be incompatible with the Angel of Death trait, though. So once we start converting him into a Space Marine, Wimp will go away. Nearsighted won't, but nearsighted isn't as bad as I think the name implies. It does hurt his shooting skill a little bit, but obviously he has plenty. And it does hurt his aiming time a little bit, as well as his overall accuracy. But with enough shooting skill, we can overcome that. And it also does provide some benefits to melee combat. So it's not all bad. And again, the bad is very easy to mitigate. So all in all, yeah, Marcos, I think, is going to be a pretty promising initiate. Let's see. So Recruitment difficulty 99%. Geez. Resistance remaining 0 though. So, oh, we should probably switch over to actually being recruited. That reminds me. What are you guys at? Your resistance has not been touched. That might be okay. Let's worry about that later because we don't know if we're going to make her into a servitor or a tech priest. So she might remain a prisoner forever, essentially. Hippopotamus, however, should be... Yeah, let's continue working on your resistance. That's fine. What are we doing with you? Forced to work. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Jordiana. You are another tech priest candidate. Mining animals, interesting. So she can craft, but she doesn't enjoy it. Okay. She might be a good candidate for like a Scutari or something. So she would still be, you know, a member of the Mechanicus, but a little bit more combat oriented. With 7 crafting skill, though, we will definitely put her to work, and she can obviously help mine as well. But we'll make sure that she's able to contribute in the fighting, as in addition to everything else that we have her do. So we're currently forcing her to work. Resistance remaining is 4. Can we work and recruit? I don't know if... I forget if we need to remove the resistance entirely before we can actually start effectively recruiting, or if it just makes things easier. It's been so long, and because they phased out this version of recruitment, I don't remember how it works, to be completely honest. Obviously in our other playthrough the mechanic is completely different. Anywho, Alaros. You are, another potential Marine candidate. So some shooting skill, not really much for melee, but the passion's there so we can make it work. A little bit of crafting. I don't know if that's enough to really do anything with, though. And then, obviously, social, so maybe another squad leader. Resilient is nice for Marine. Again, Wimp is incompatible with Angel of Death. So is Greedy, for that matter. The Space Marine trait, Angel of Death, has a little bit of the ascetic trait built into it, so it conflicts with stuff like Greedy. Same with Wimp, because it has some additional pain shock threshold tolerance. So these two will just get phased out when that gets added. Resilient will stay, though. And obviously that's something that would be pretty synergistic with that trait, actually. Okay, so Alaros. We're recruiting you already. Perfect. Black. I don't know what I want to do with him. He is mostly just a crafter, so he could be a crafting servitor, or he could be a tech priest. Obviously, he has some capacity for violence, so we might be able to utilize that. Hard to say, but it's not really a priority one way or the other. We're just not interacting with you at all. Well, let's at least reduce your resistance so we have the option. And I should probably, once his resistance is down, we should probably put him to work, even if we don't recruit him straight away, just because he can obviously assist with some of the crafting operations here. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a way to like work and reduce resistance. If I do work and recruit, I don't know that their resistance actually gets reduced. I think we just continually try to recruit at the current difficulty. But it would be nice to have him start crafting, like, say, components or plasteel over here while we do that. But I don't know if that's possible. We basically have to choose one or the other. And then Trokipla, who was, like, still kind of is a member of our colony already. However, she's been dealing with a lot of mental breaks as well, thanks to her alcohol addiction. Again, very good at combat. Well, very good at shooting. Has some passion and skill in medicine and crafting as well. So we were thinking about turning her into a tech priest. However, given the problems we've had with her, the virtually constant mental breaks, I might just basically use her for gene seed components. She is good, but she's not so overwhelmingly good that we couldn't afford to lose her at all. The main thing that she's going to contribute is medicine, which obviously overlaps with a few people that we have already. Of course, there's Gordian, who we're having to do most of the surgery stuff, and then we'll want to start having Demetrios contribute to that as well, so he builds up his skills. And then there were a few other tech priest candidates that also had passion for medicine. So while she is a relatively decent pawn, at least in terms of skill set, it's nothing that we can't easily replace. And so I'm wondering if all the trouble that she's given us is worth it. She's about to have another mental break even, so yeah. And there's the fact that she's a kleptomaniac, which could be a problem. She's a lush, so if there's any sort of alcohol present, we can't really trust her around it, especially given that she has an addiction. I don't know how long it's going to take for this to actually go away. It's been at 100% for quite a while. So again, she might be gene seed component fodder at this point. But feel free to weigh in on what you think we should do with her. Alright, so with the soil tilled in this room and the sun lamp being placed, we are going to go ahead and try to start growing in here properly. So the top half is going to be cotton, basically replacing what we have over here. And then the bottom half, at least for the time being, is going to be heal root so that we can get herbal medicine. Eventually, I'd like to transition over to Neutroa leaf, which will allow us to eventually craft industrial medicine from it. However, in order to do that, we need a growing skill of 12. And currently, we do not have anybody skilled enough to do that. So that would be something where a tech priest would be very, very useful. I don't know that we have any candidates that have a high plant skill, though. So in digging out the, I guess, east wing of the hallway here, we hit this big open area, and I believe, yeah, this is all completely uncovered, so we're gonna need to throw a roof over it. Otherwise, we risk basically enemies landing in here. Of course, with a regular roof, they could just punch right through anyways. But I believe I have the ability to make, thick stone roofing. Which we can do out of sandstone. It's going to be quite expensive, though. But I don't really see an alternative. So let's do this very strategically. Actually, I should be looking at yeah, there might not be any overhead mountain there even. This is gonna be tricky. Very tricky. So yeah, maybe I'm not going to worry about it just quite yet, because it could be that this entire area doesn't have an overhead mountain, and so I might need to basically do this thick roofing over the entire area, not just this open space that we have right now. So for the time being, at least, I think I'm just going to ask them to build a roof over what is exposed. Again, granted, this roof is not going to offer us any protection against drop pods or things of that nature, but at least it will keep this an interior space, which is the more important thing right now. So Camisa appears to be the best planter that we have. Actually, saying that, I think Gordian is, well, she is better than him, and he has no passion for it. So Camisa is probably going to be the one that ends up filling this sort of role, and that might be her niche in our Fortress Monastery here is if she can build her planting skill up to 12, then she's going to be really the only person that we can ask to do some of the growing that we're intending to do, and obviously she'll be the most efficient at it. So yeah, I think that'll be her niche. So it looks like all of Fosse's implants were successful, which is great. He's still a bit woozy, but all 3 have been installed without any issues, other than the fact that the game decided not to keep them in numerical order. I was kind of expecting that, though. If we look at like Thul's health tab, they're all over the place. I don't know why that is. I was very meticulous in how I set up the XML files for this mod, trying to keep them in order, because this sort of mess just drives me insane. But there's apparently nothing I can do about it. It seems like they always want to fall into the same order here, because I think if we look at Endymions, yeah, exactly the same order. I don't know why that is. They're ordered 1 through, I forget, 19 or 20 or whatever in the XML file, and also they are in order in the pawn kinds definition scripts, where I added all of these different organ slots. So apparently it just can't be helped. All right, couple things. I'm gonna move the mineral sonar, which has been just kind of sitting here doing nothing for a while. We didn't really find a whole lot other than a couple steel deposits out here. But now that we have this big spot opened up in the east, I'm going to move it out there and see what we can find. To that end, though, we are going to need to run a power conduit through here, at least temporarily. Eventually, I'll move it into, the wall on either side, but for now, we'll just leave it out in the open. And we'll see what the game has in store for us out here. I'd also like to start working on Demetrios's implants. So let's kick things off with the secondary heart. And once that's in, we can then maybe look at numbers 2 and 3. We'll do all 3 of those. Maybe not in one set, but in pretty quick succession. Make sure he has the right medicine. Perfect. And let's look at a bionic foot for him as well. So if we go to prosthetics, let's just jump to the bottom here. We want a simple prosthetic foot requires plasteel and components. That seems like it would be a bionic at that point. Bionic leg is a little bit more expensive, but it might be... Okay, here we go. So we have to make the simple prosthetic foot regardless, and then just put more plasteel and components into it. EPOE doesn't seem very balanced in that regard. So if this is just a simple prosthetic, why do I need components and plasteel? Like a wood block would suffice. Right, anyways, let's make that. Jumping back over to our planting area, it looks like they've finished tilling the soil on this side. So I think we're just going to do one big growing zone over here, and it will be a food crop. So I think corn makes the most sense, given that we don't want to be harvesting this frequently, but we do want to maximize the yields we get every time we do. And we're not in any real urgent need for food. We just want to have a more sustainable source than raids, basically. Right now we're relying pretty much entirely on Kroot and orc meat to feed us. And while that is relatively sustainable, given that we are being raided pretty frequently, it's still not the most reliable source. So this will at least give us something that we have better control over. I should also make sure that these are being powered effectively, which it doesn't appear that they are. So let's actually just wrap this around the entire room. And let's get the underground ones here, and we'll actually run an underground one all the way across the middle there, just so they can directly connect and not have to wire off to a wall. I'll need to keep an eye on the batteries once we implement this as well. Speaking of, we should probably go ahead and just deconstruct these. Cool, we just recruited Alaros. So, what's he doing right now? He's going to go equip a chain shotgun. Yeah, maybe don't do that. Do we have an extra cattle prod? Doesn't appear that we do. Well, Focis, I think we're pretty close to being able to get you going as a scout. So it might be worth dropping his and working on getting him some proper weaponry. Yeah, let's actually do that. So can I just have you drop that? Not from that screen, apparently. Where the hell were you, by the way? Okay. So, Alaros, why don't you come equip this? He looks a bit upset about that. And we should probably reorganize this a bit. So I'm trying to keep things organized based on a Space Marine company. So we basically have command squad, then we have like specialty units, apothecaries, tech marines, things of that nature. And then we do tacticals, tactical marines, assault marines, devastator marines. So Avitus, for example, was slotted in here. Then we'll do scouts, then we'll do initiates, and then we'll have anybody that's not a space marine. So Heracus, Camisa will stay at the end. In fact, you should be bumped over here as well. We need to get her some robes, and it might be worth starting on crafting his armor too. I asked them to make some servitors clothing, but nobody's actually doing it. I'll need to maybe prioritize that. And then we potentially want like 2 of these. That is going to be a little bit costly on the plasteel front, but we can afford it right now. We have 210, so we could make 4 of them if we wanted. 2 is going to be sufficient for the time being. And as far as weaponry goes, you are both more melee inclined, so we'll probably start with chain swords and bolt pistols for them. Alaros, on the other hand, though, is going to be more ranged, so he might get a regular bolter. Those are a bit costly, though. I feel like I need to rebalance this, because the melee stuff was all placeholder. I never changed these, so like this should be a lot more expensive than 10 plasteel, 2 components, and 20 gold. That's all placeholder. So I'll change that before we craft any of those. I think the chainsword is fine though. 75 and 4 seems fair to me. This seems a bit steep though. So I might make the pistol like 50 steel, 10 plasteel, 2 components, 3 components maybe. And then the bolter, I might cut everything in half. I know that they're, very powerful weapons, but at this rate, we'd only be able to make like 3 of them ever. And if the heavy bolter is effectively the same cost, actually arguably cheaper because it's less components, then yeah, the regular bolter should be a lot less. Okay, well, there's some time to do that. And I still need to make graphics for some of these. So the installation of Demetrios' secondary heart was a success. That's great news. I believe Gordian is working on, a simple prosthetic foot for him, which we will convert into a bionic foot, and then we'll go ahead and install. And after that, we'll probably take care of maybe implants 2 and 3 as well. So the prosthetic foot is done. Let's queue up the bionic foot. which hopefully between the plasteel we spent on the regular prosthetic, it's basically a whole set of scout armor that we just blew on that. Okay, the bionic foot just finished, so let's queue up installing that. Where would you be? It's gonna be after all of the gene seed stuff, I would wager. Perhaps not. Maybe it's before. Or not. Right, let's just search. Huh, I don't see it at all. Maybe because it's not yet in the stockpile. Alright, so Nicholas and Avitus have arrived at the location that they were headed, and it looks like there is in fact a few mechanoids. I guess these demon brutes are mechanoids as far as the game is concerned. Maybe they weren't implemented correctly by whatever mod that's adding. I don't know what half of this crap is, to be honest. They do have some turrets. There's a sun blocker that we'll probably want to destroy. Even more big nasty turrets. These gloom lights, of course the brutes themselves. There's at least one centipede, a lancer, or no, sorry, 2 scythers, and then the 2 brutes. So some more firepower probably would have been helpful here. But what are you going to do? I'm trying to think. That might be a bit too close. I may set Avitus up like here, and then Nicholas on the corner there. And hopefully I can get them to kind of move into melee with him. And of course they started shooting too soon. I should have expected that. Oh good, and there's backup. Alright, Avitus, start lighting up this guy. Hopefully you can kill him relatively quickly. Nicholas is already taking care of one scyther, and he's about to take care of the other. Let's destroy these turrets, because they might explode and destroy other stuff. Maybe not. And Trokipla just went catatonic again. So, yeah, I think she's going to be fodder for gene seed components. I think everything's dead. Are you dead, or are you just... Okay, incapacitated, close enough. There are a few of them hiding. I don't know what that's about, but Avitus is already on it looks like. Nicholas, I'm going to move you up. When is your shield going to regen? It should have taken a while. Alright, so that one's down. There's still a brute over there, but we'll deal with him shortly. In the meantime, let's blow up this. Oops. And I should probably destroy that assembler at some point. I mean, it looks like we're hitting both in our crossfire, so. Alright, sunblocker's destroyed. Let's make sure we get this. And then why don't you go... it seems like you got it under control. Demetrios just failed his surgery. I'm pretty pissed about that, because we're probably going to have to craft that foot again. And of course they did. I need to move this bed, because... or at least make it not a medical bed. Because if they're doing surgery in there, they're risking failure pretty consistently. Yeah, 95% versus this is well over 100. So yeah, let's mark that for not medical. And Gordian, since you really screwed this up, it's on you to fix it. Please go tend to him. Meanwhile, I think you guys are about done here. Well, at the very least, we'll get some plasteel for this. It probably won't be enough to make up for what we just blew on 2 bionic feet, only one of which we'll actually get to use. But all in all, well, no, because there's plasteel in here. So between the 2, it might just be enough to make up for it. Gloom lights. I don't know that we care about those. Might be better to deconstruct them. Honestly, I don't know what we'll get for them, if I'm being honest. The centipede's going to be hard to bring back with us. In fact, pretty much all these guys are, unfortunately. So maybe you should go finish off the brute there. And let's claim this door, and we'll have Avitus go take a peek. What's Tarkus's issue? He's not doing anything. What work type does he not like doing? Oh, that's not good. That's not good at all. I'll probably need to save here and reload, so I might just call it an episode momentarily. Let's have Avitus check this out. We know more or less what's in here, but we need to at least, you know, open the door to confirm it. So there it is. I don't think there's really anything else on this map that we want to bring back with us. Right. Yeah, no, nothing. So I think everything that's here is everything that we would want to carry. Let's see how difficult it will be to lug everything back. So we want the components, of course. We want the ceramite. We want the plasteel. And already we're over. I stupidly did not send enough people for this. I should have considered... I was thinking solely about how many people we would need to overcome the defenses. I did not consider how many people we would need to haul back our reward. I think partly because I saw reward, oh, it'll get drop potted to us, and I should have known better because this is a not that type of quest. Right, so I might have to send them some backup. Yeah. How much do you guys weigh? Quite a lot. So we're not going to be able to bring these guys back with us. That's unfortunately just not something that's going to happen. But if we send maybe one more person out there, potentially Cyrus, because he's going to be the quickest one to get over there, we can maybe get at least all of the plasteel. Yeah. So we just need one more person to get the rest of the plasteel. All right, so for the time being, they're just going to have to hang out. And then, Cyrus, you are fully healthy. Let's go ahead and form that caravan. We need you to get here as quickly as you can. So just you, traveling extremely lightly. Don't even bother with the medicine. They have some. Just take like a couple agave with you. Like, even that's overkill. You know what? The lighter he travels, the better. Because anything he carries, we're also going to have to bring back. Why is he already at 15 mass, though? So, his carry capacity is plus 35. I still need to fix that, because the Marines should have a bonus to their carry capacity. But what else is he carrying that contributes weight? I'm guessing his weapons? His rifle, potentially? It's not going to let me check it from here. But I'm guessing it's probably his armor and weapons, so... that may not even be enough. Well, let's go ahead and just do it. I'm going to send him and him alone. And I'll try to remember between episodes to fix the carry capacity issue. Because, again, they should be able to carry a lot more than a standard pawn. So, we'll at least get that queued up. Is somebody going to come help you? Okay, they did. Perfect. Almost took his whole leg off trying to install this foot. Jesus Christ. How'd you end up getting his torso? That's quite a lot of damage. That's almost half the health. I'm very, very annoyed by that entire situation. Okay, so let's make this prosthetic foot again. I should check and make sure it did in fact get destroyed. I'm guessing doesn't indicate here, but if we don't see it on the ground here, which I believe it would be a blue stripe. Yeah, if we don't see it here, then it definitely got destroyed. Okay, well, we'll make a new one. And again, at least we're getting some plasteel for our efforts on that little adventure there, which will make up for it slightly. Looking at our batteries, it looks like we are handling the 2 sun lamps just fine. So that's good news. Our growing capacity is increased tremendously. Anywho, let's end it there because I need to fix this hot mess as well. I don't need to manually go through and change them. Basically, when I save and reload, they should go back to where they were. I don't know what's causing this bug, but it happens somewhat frequently. Luckily, it doesn't seem to have any long-term effect so long as I restart the game. So, again, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. I had a great time playing some Rimworld with you. Hopefully, we can get rid of some of these bugs once and for all, but it doesn't look like it. I think we're going to be dealing with these for the rest of the playthrough, but so far, nothing has been completely game-breaking, which is good news. Anyway, thank you again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you back here for the next one.